I make 22,000 euros, which is basically $22,000 a month with my weird side hustle. People criticize me, but I've quit my job and live a life of luxury, according to this individual in the UK. But let's get right into it. So, Curtis Gibbs, 25, was able to quit his job in retail and is now living the life of luxury. Curtis says he makes around 22,000 euros a month, and he started in OnlyFans as a side hustle in 2018 before going full time. Cool eyes. Ba ba ba. He started OnlyFans in 2018 as a side hustle before going full time in 2019. Curtis has since had his fair share of bizarre requests. Describing the list as endless, the lad from Wolverhampton said one guy asked him to burp into a jar. He said the list is endless when it comes to strange requests. See, here's the thing. Anytime you end up basically going down the path of doing like this type of work, like adult related work, you are going to basically be opening yourself up to some really offhanded, really weird influences, basically, right? And like just to put into perspective, like now I don't know how it is for like a guy, right, who's doing this sort of thing, but like a lot of the girls that do OnlyFans or that type of stuff, that type of content, while also doing like live streaming or whatever, a lot of them have stalkers and a lot of them get really weird comments, like really weird crap, right? Like it's just really weird stuff that goes on once you reach that point. So one guy wanted me to gulp down a bottle of Coca-Cola, burp into a jar, seal the jar, and post it to him. Here's the thing, right? The question is, how much was this guy going to get paid by this one guy who requested this very specific thing? Because here's the thing, right? If someone is willing to pay you like 10K to drink a bottle of Coca Cola and then burp it into a jar and send it to someone, I don't know. That's some pretty easy money, right? But if someone's willing to do that for like only 100, why would you bother wasting your time doing that? You know? So he claims people have asked for used underwear, kind of weird, and wanted to buy his bath water, but he is happy to deliver. Well, that's kind of odd. So almost tripling his monthly income in the first month, Curtis said he was previously earning around $1,200 to $1,300 and had maxed out his credit cards, which you should never do, right? Like, one, we definitely recommend people to not really use credit cards because the majority of people can't really handle their spending. So, having a credit card is actually a very big liability for them. But if you ever get to the point where you're maxing out your credit cards, you are facing some really tough financial times. So once his followers on the adult site started to increase, he invested in a studio to make more content, which I mean, I guess is kind of smart because you might try to make a little bit more money or whatever. Hitting nearly 150,000 subscribers, Curtis says his confidence has grown and his mental health has improved. 150,000 subscribers. Like what are you charging per month on your OnlyFans? Where you're only making 22k euros a month. So despite being chubby, Curtis is proud to embrace his body and provide more of a representation in the industry. I'm not your average looking OnlyFans model. There's not enough representation of chubby men in adult stuff, and you know what. So I'm proof you can have a chubby belly and chest hair in this line of work. There's so much stigma when it comes to OnlyFans. It needs to be normalized and looked at as a normal job. I now take my job as an adult worker very seriously. There are lots of decisions I've made over the years that I look back on and regret, but quitting retail and doing OnlyFans is certainly not one of them. Now, here's the thing. Another way to basically view this, and this is the way that I view this because I don't really care one way or not if someone's doing this sort of thing. I just view it as if you're basically just creating your own membership site or basically your own like Netflix website, like your, you know, Netflix version, right? That people who want to see more of you or do whatever more with you can do it, right? Like, for example, if this commentary grew rapidly over the next couple of years and I ended up wanting to create like a membership site where I could cover very not family friendly stuff that are happening in news and whatnot, because there's a lot of these social media companies that don't really allow you to talk about a lot of stuff. I might do that just so to show you basically very unfiltered videos and news of like because basically like I stumbled on like a video where someone literally got executed like just randomly in like New York or something. Like it was the craziest video I've ever seen. But you can't show that stuff in these types of videos or these types of episodes. So I could understand maybe doing something like that and more like a membership thing, more specifically for this type of stuff. But still, that's just the way I view the whole OnlyFans thing. It's just like a membership site. I don't really care one way or not these people use it for the adult stuff or not. The same. As soon as I started to embrace my body, hey, props to you, my mental health improved as well. Curtis said his family have been supportive of his decision and have seen a change in his well-being too, and he's not the only one making a living through a side hustle. Now here's the thing too, right? I think the biggest thing that could really change people's lives is, well, really two things, right? Making more money and also having more free time. If you have those combined things and you get more of those things over time, you're probably going to feel a little bit better about your situation, right? For example, the cool aspect of people using these sort of like fan websites or membership websites or whatever, OnlyFans or Subscribestar or Locals or Patreon or your own website or whatever, right? Or a private like mentorship group or something. The cool thing about it is that because it is like a monthly subscription and it's recurring revenue, then you can pretty much expect typically probably about like 80% of those people paying you, about that same amount of people will be paying you next month as well, at least, right? So like let's say that you're making about like $10,000 per month from your membership website. Well, the next month after you make that 10,000, you can pretty much expect that at the very least you'll probably make about 8,000. At the most is who knows, but pretty much your minimum might be like 80% of what you made the previous month. Because if you're not making content or if you're not pushing it, you're probably going to make a little bit less money, but because it is recurring revenue, because it is a subscription model, some people will just not cancel their stuff, and some people just want to keep unseeing you more and more and more, right? Because they have this weird relationship with you kind of thing. So it allows people to have more free time, make money that's a little bit more reliable than, let's say, like a low income job, right? Where you're basically making minimum wage, right? Here's the thing. A lot of people, if given the choice of basically making like 5K plus per month every single month, doing something like an OnlyFans or something similar to it versus working a minimum wage job 40 plus hours a week, people are probably going to lean towards doing something similar to like the OnlyFans type of model, right? So I completely understand why people go down this route and try to make this route work for them. It's just that people need to understand that like you always put yourself up to like risk, right? Like there's always a risk for everything that you do, right? There's always a cost to everything that you do, even though you may not really be aware of it. Like, for example, all of your stuff is just going to be exposed to everyone, technically for free, because people just steal it and post it on Reddit or something. Like, all of your stuff is just going to be out there, right? All of your private photos, all of your insecurities are just going to be made public and whatnot if you're not careful. So it's just like be aware of that. Like there's always a cost to it. So just understand. Yeah. So feel free to give your thoughts on this. If you stumble upon this, if you could make $10,000 pretty much every single month without spending that much time per day on it, would you be willing to do something like an OnlyFans? I think that'd be pretty interesting to find out.